Ahead, why Apple can't wait to launch the iPhone in China, and seeing red in the name of art later in the show. Welcome to 3 Times Square this Thursday from Reuters World Headquarters in New York. Apple's iPhone 5 debuts in China a week from Friday, not a day too soon. The latest data from researcher IDC shows Apple's smartphone market there slipped to 6th place in the third quarter. Their market share, rather, slipped to 6th place in the third quarter. That's down 2 places from the second quarter. The report out one day after Apple's stock tumbled on concerns about growing competition in the mobile devices space. Shares closed at $538.79 Wednesday and are now down to $519, around $520. Here's something you don't hear every day: a company planning to pay more in taxes. Starbucks says it could pay up to £20 million, or about $32 million more in taxes to the UK. The coffee chain planning to change its accounting practices following a wave of criticism from lawmakers and others. A Reuters investigation in October found the company had reported 13 years of losses at its UK unit, even as it told investors the operation was profitable and among the best performing of its overseas markets. Shares higher today, the company benefiting from an analyst upgrade after announcing expansion plans. Staying in Europe, central bank boss Mario Draghi giving his latest take on the economy after another ECB meeting. Our Jamie McGeever joins us from London. Jamie, give us some of the highlights.
Well, Lisa, first of all, let's start with the interest rate itself. And of course, rates were left on hold at a record low of 0.75%. That was widely as expected. Nothing particularly earth-shattering from Draghi's press conference, but there were two interesting elements. First of all, he cut the Eurozone's GDP outlook for this year and next, and the 2013 forecast in particular was pretty dramatic. The economy, according to Draghi, could contract by as much as 0.9% next year. And also, in an answer to a question on whether a rate cut was discussed today, he said there was a wide discussion and that the prevailing consensus, in his words, was to keep rates on hold. So clearly some people in the Governing Council wanted a rate cut, and the euro reacted accordingly and fell around 0.5 cent to a session low of just above 130.
All right, Jamie, our daily digit today is $1.8 billion. It involves HSBC. Fill us in.
Yes, well, this is another Reuters exclusive. You were talking about Starbucks there. This is another Reuters exclusive. HSBC, Europe's biggest bank, may pay a fine of $1.8 billion as part of a settlement with US law enforcement agencies over money laundering. That's according to several people familiar with the matter. Now, you'll remember the charges surrounded breaches of anti-money laundering controls in Mexico in particular, also other violations. But $1.8 billion, OK, it's a large amount. But remember, HSBC said last month it had set aside $1.5 billion already. And Chief Executive Stuart Gulliver said the cost could be significantly higher. So is $1.8 billion significantly higher than $1.5 billion? The stock market doesn't seem to think so. HSBC shares today hit an 18-month high of 647 pence. Lisa?
Wow. OK, Jamie, thanks so much from London. Power ballads and power chords lead us to our power player of the day. It's the pop group Fun, whose huge hit single We Are Young catapulted them to 6 Grammy nominations, including 1 in each of the 4 major categories: album, song, and record of the year, as well as best new artist. Male artists dominated the Grammy nominations, with relative old-timers Jay-Z and Kanye West getting nods. Noticeably absent, the Beeb, Justin Bieber, who put out the chart-topping album Believe. He was snubbed. And finally, those skiing in the Tony Courchevel Resort in the French Alps now have a wolf to contend with, as well as a giant elephant and a gorilla. Plastic sculptures made by French artist Richard Orlinski on display high atop the slopes, airlifted by helicopters, as you can see. Orlinski says he was fascinated by the idea of removing his sculptures from a traditional museum context and experimenting with a more accessible way to view them. We hear they particularly like the bunny slope. That is the latest from 3 Times Square this Thursday. You can follow us on Twitter at Reuters Insider and check out our Reuters YouTube channel at Reuters.com/ReutersTV. I'm Lisa Bernhard. This is Reuters.